Even though I'm away at college, Kinetic Credit Union is still the best way for me to stay connected here and at home. With the Kinetic mobile app, I have control of my accounts wherever I go. I can easily transfer money between internal and external accounts, get money faster by setting up recurring transfers, and I can find the nearest ATM or branch right from my phone. Plus, I can add my Kinetic cards to my phone's digital wallet and enjoy quick, secure, contactless payments. By the way, Mom, I need some more money.
Kinetic Credit Union, the energy for your dreams.
Man, I love that intro. It is What's Up, everyone? Thrift, Barringer, and Richard Holdridge on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. We are presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC, Buffalo Rock Pepsi, Gordy Eye Care, and Kinetic Credit Union. What an incredible rivalry weekend we had on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. We'll get into that in just a moment. We also are going to update you with our Riverdragons talk. We have Keep It Up with CSU Athletics, and you know, we said when we started getting into closer to playoff time, closer to the end of region play, that we were going to do weekly rankings on our high school basketball rankings that we do. We were doing bi-weekly, and now that we're about 3-4 weeks away from the end of the regular season, we're going to do them weekly, and I'm excited about it. But, Richard, what is up, man? I know you had a busy but very positive weekend here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
Oh, absolutely. I've had a fantastic week. I know you have too, Thrift. I mean, with everything going on, with Sports Visions launching their morning show 5 days a week, with Georgia Alabama Sports Live, rivalry week, we had some fantastic rivalries, and it has just been incredible.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I've just thoroughly enjoyed our partnership with Colin Scroggins and CNAW2 News. Go to CNAW2news.com, but we are the exclusive. That is right, exclusive sports provider for Colin Scroggins and CNAW2 News. So visit them on Facebook and, of course, their website. We're excited about this partnership. It has already shown positive effects here just as we started on Friday. And, man, the viewership, the exposure that these athletes are going to get even more. They were already getting a lot, but now we're taking it to a whole nother level. So we appreciate that partnership. And we appreciate all our media partners out there that we work with, RBL and TVM and only Colga. But this specifically being the exclusive sports provider for a site and a Facebook page, it gets a lot of looks and a lot of traction. We want to say thank you again to that group over there for allowing us to be a part and bringing you all the sports coverage around the Chattahoochee Valley area.
Oh, there's no question about it that our viewership has definitely grown because of our partnership with Colin Scroggins and CNAW2 News. And we want to try to promote them because Colin Scroggins is, he's grinding like we are. He's out there in the community getting the news stories and getting the coverage that you want to see because, we're in a digital world now. And a lot of these viewers, they want to get their news and their sports at an instant's notice. And that's what Colin Scroggins has been doing. And we really appreciate that partnership. And
we are bringing you 24/7, a nonstop every day. We're giving you something, whether it's coaches shows, the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show, Kudzu Show with Rick Beach, or covering all things county, whether it be we're doing Muskogee County office hours, or we're streaming all the games around here. Every day we give you something on our platforms, Facebook and YouTube. Make sure to subscribe and make sure to like our Facebook page. All right, let's rehash what we did this past weekend, and we're going to start with Friday night. Man, what a night for the city and the put on. We had Carver Sumter County for a battle of second place with the girls, battle for first place with the boys. I was there for that. The Sumter County girls, they are loaded and elite, and they're the number 2 team in the region for a reason. So they end up taking care of business against their Lady Tigers, but I still think the Tigers are going to make the playoffs and finish third in the region. For the boys, Carver got a little bit of a scare. I thought they were going to win this by 10 or 15. They only won by 1 point. It was back and forth all game. Sumter County's got some size to combat the length and the speed of Carver, but in the end, Carver just took advantage. Jacoby Casson was the player of the game. He was absolutely sensational. Richard, seeing him ball out. Tobias Tolbert had his normal 8 blocks, 10 rebounds, 15 points. Tristan Givens was excellent. And they did this with Tony Montgomery was sick, and he only played about 10 minutes of the game. The Troy commit, who's one of the leading scorers in the entire city, did not play much, and Carver still to win. That is a credit to Coach Eric Allen, a.k.a. Penbrook, and his staff for doing an excellent job. And, Richard, I know you enjoyed watching it, too. It was a fantastic game. So we'll start with that one. What a night for the Carver Tigers as they move into sole first place within the region.
I do want to start with the Sumter County girls because I do believe this is the second best team in the region. They have a special player named Justine Scott. We've already seen Sumter County 3 times on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. I was on the call when they beat Shaw. I was on the call when they beat Spencer. I know you were on the call for when they ended up beating Carver. I do think the game to watch is going to be on February the 4th. We'll get to see them probably for a 4th time because they end up playing Hardaway, and that could be for the region championship, even though Hardaway's already beaten them. But man, Justine Scott, when they actually present the all-region team, I mean, she has got to be first team all-region.
No doubt about it. And then across the river, it was a rivalry of all rivalries. These schools hate each other. Trust me, I was a part of some of these games. Glenwood and Lee Scott, both of them made the transition into the public sector, playing in 3A AHSAA. And this was a battle for first place in both boys and girls. The Glenwood girls, they have not lost to Lee Scott in several years. I think the winning streak's over 10 games, maybe 12 or 15 at this point. Richard, they dominated in that game, ended up getting ahead there in the second half. But it was the boys upsetting third-ranked Lee Scott. And to take advantage of being in first place, what a night for Coach Purdue. Richard, you were there for it.
Well, first of all, I do want to say this. This is the first game that I've done play-by-play that in my broadcasting career on Georgia Alabama Sports Live that has received over 10,000 views on Facebook. And that means a lot to me. That was a milestone that I'm proud of. But I'm going to start with the girls. The Glenwood girls, they had adversity with Hallie Palmore gone for the season after losing out in the first game to Notasulga. They were taking on a Lee Scott Academy team that was hungry. They lost to Glenwood 5 times last year. And Clarkie Vaught, by the way, a very special player, but she needed help. And she had 21 points, but she couldn't do it all by herself. It was Bobby Taylor, Brazil, the post player in the middle, had a double-double once again. I think she had like 15 rebounds. I know that she scored like 24 points, and she was the Alex Quinney All-State Good Hands player of the game. Mimi Johnson stepping up in that point guard role, and they're in first place. Now to the boys, unbelievable. Probably one of the all-time greats when it comes to games on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Now, I'm not going to put it up there as number one because, Thrift, you've called buzzer beaters. You've called Jordan Daniels, Brookstone buzzer beater. You've called Jakeith Hodo's buzzer beater. This was not a buzzer beater, but it could have been because Hayden Harper.
It was a last-second play, Richard.
Down by 2. And I talked to Hayden Harper before the game. I told him he had a great Border Wars because that showdown with him and Champ Simpson was a classic. Hayden Harper with 31 points. Wow. We were tied. Hayden Harper had the ball, and then Braylon Alexander picks his pocket, goes all the way down to score. It's now 67-65. Glenwood's, the fans are going nuts. You got the AD, Coach Fanning, that's in front of the student section trying to encourage him not to storm the court. I mean, it sometimes it happens, but just the play. Hayden Harper had a very good look, and he's an outstanding shooter. And I said on the broadcast, great players are going to take the final shot, and Hayden Harper is a great player for Lee Scott.
Yeah, he is,
but he misses.
He does, and
he missed.
And what a call for you, Richard. Unbelievable on the steal. A legendary call that we'll put in the books. And one with unbelievable.
Got to say that real. Say that real.
when you made that that the fact that when you made the comment and made it into a 5-word syllable, that was pretty funny with that Glenwood game. So what an unbelievable showcase for the Glenwood Gators, and they win. And then Brookstone Pacelli played, and the Pacelli boys won 78-53 over the Brookstone boys, and the Pacelli girls won 61-32. They both stay undefeated in the region. They're both in first place. Both are looking like every bit the team that could go back to back after winning state championship last year. And that brings the winning streak to 27 games in a row for the Pacelli Vikings, going back to last year, 12 to end the season, and then 15. But then on Saturday, we had Marion County, Chattahoochee County. That was a great game. Champ Simpson was great. Marion County girls got a win. And then we did Harris County, and Rick Beach and Kudzu Sports were on the call. Rick sounded excellent, by the way. Shout out Rick Beach, BB of content here, and then also Kudzu Sports. And Richard, I actually liked it. He had a lot of energy. Manchester girls, also Harris County girls, but the Manchester boys who played for state last year, Final Four, they took care of business against Harris County. But all in all, though, over the weekend, we tallied, Richard, close to 50,000 views on all the stuff that we did.
Wow.
The reach that we were able to touch, seeing these talented programs, these talented athletes, that is the main reason we started Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and we appreciate you in the community for supporting us and supporting what we do, and mainly supporting the kids and the coaches who dedicate so much time and effort. And I know, because I used to watch these games, Richard, so it's been really incredible. What an excellent weekend, and we thank everyone for tuning in. All right, so I know I said we were going to do River Dragon Salt. We are going to do that, but we're going to do a Keep It Up with CSU Athletics first, because this intro went a little bit longer than I thought. And we are going to go ahead and bring on the head boys basketball coach of the Columbus State University Cougars. And he has his team on a roll right now, 14-2. I'm telling you, this may be the best Columbus State team I've seen in some time. And he's had some great ones. Coach Moore, thank you so much for joining us, man. And what a start and what a season your team is having.
Hey, thank y'all for having me, man. It's just been good. The guys been playing great. Look like it's going to be a great season.
Coach, you just got a big win. You're moved into the top 25. I guess we'll start there, and then we'll talk about the wins recently. What does that mean for your program to get ranked nationally, and everyone around, from Associated Press to the coaches, showing respect to your program, and that you keep winning, you're going to keep moving up? I know that's got to be a big deal for you.
Oh, yeah. We just feel like we want to represent Columbus State University on and off the court. We had our best semester ever academically with a 3.25 in fall semester. And so we just want to represent Columbus, Georgia, and just make sure that we're one of the top Division II schools in the country. And that's always been our goal. And ever since I took this program over with my mentor, Herbert Green, I always wanted us to be at the top, and it's one of the things that we're striving for, to win a national championship at Columbus State University in men's basketball.
Coach, you got a pretty good rotation of players that can actually take over the game at any time's notice. Yep. I mean, Jared Adderton, we know what he's capable of. He's dropped 30 in a game. You have Jelani James, who had 25 points against South Carolina Aiken. Wisdom Ubo has really been a balanced scorer, and he can play defense. How about Cordell Brown getting into the rotation? You got 4 players, and then Roman Sun. I mean, your starting 5 is outstanding. And looking at the record, your team is rolling, but it's going to get tough. I know the Peach Belt is a tough conference. You got some tough road games coming up. How do you keep your guys fresh and ready to just put out the effort every night, especially when you got a tough Flagler team you got to play next?
We just feel like with our depth this year, because you both know we lost Rakeem Gary to transfer from New Mexico State. He's out for the year with a torn ACL. So we just tell these guys, the next man up, that next guy got to step up. The other night we played without our freshman Messiah Jones, and our post guys stepped up. But when you have such a great senior class with Wisdom, Uba, Roman Son, Jelani James, Jerry Addison, those guys, Cardale Brown, they've been there before, and they just feel like this is our time and this is our year. So we just taking game by game. Our next opponent, like you said, is Flagler, and we're looking to go to St. Augustine and come back home with a win.
Coach, 14-2, undefeated at home. You got Flagler, you got Lander, but the big one that I really circled, and then you got UC Buford too. But the big one that I'm circling is Saturday, February 1st, and we hope to be in the building for that one at 3:30, and it's going against Augusta University. That was your last loss, Coach, back on January the 4th. If you feel like Augusta is the team that if you get through them, you probably could get you a Peach Belt regular season conference championship, or do you still feel like it's still a 3 or 4 team race?
Oh, I think it's 3 or 4 team race. North Georgia still really good. They just had some tough losses. The team we beat yesterday, we were just on all cylinders and everything was going right. USC Aiken is still tough. And you can't forget about Lander over there in Greenwood, South Carolina. So I think it's about 4 or 5 teams that can win it. It's just how consistent we stay. And we made a goal for ourselves to win every game at home and still a few on the road. And we feel like we got a chance to win the Peach Belt. We lost at Augusta, but we stole one on the road at North Georgia. And now we just got to protect home court. And now we on the road this Wednesday and Saturday. We got to find a way to win these 2 games.
Coach, you're undefeated at home. What does that mean? And I've seen the crowd. I've been really impressed with the showing and the community support with your team. And obviously winning, it seems like, brings out more people. I mean, it's a sad thing to say is that they should be there no matter what. But now that you're getting nationally ranked, you're getting locally more coverage too, and we hope that we're being a part of that. Do you like to see the crowd in there? And do you think they've made a difference in the reason why you're undefeated at home?
Oh yeah, I think you guys was at the game or y'all covered the game where we was down 24
Yeah.
in the second half to Francis Marion, and the crowd just got really into it, and our guys started making plays, getting steals. We started pressing a little more. So when you have that 6 man, you would say, which is the fans, it really helps our guys. And when that Lumpkin Center is a really big place, and when you see it packed because of the winning and because of what we're doing right now, and make our guys feel really good that we got some success. Because, since all these guys have been with me 2 or 3 years, some of them 4 years, they always wanted to pack that place. And now we got a chance to do that. And we're using another word now in our program is believe you can be special. That's our slogan right now. Believe you can be special. And special people, you see the special teams like the Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to be there every year. And there's nothing you can do about it, no matter what team is coming along. Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs are at the top. And that's how we want our program. We want to be known as being one of the top Division II teams in the country. And you have to do that by winning. So, and that's our goal.
Coach, last week we kicked off rivalry week with Carver Spencer, and I made mention that you actually had a rivalry of your own that kicked off rivalry week for us. Clayton State had a whiteout at the Lumpkin Center. Clayton State is your biggest rival. I mean, this game is always big. What does it mean to beat your rival? And then you do have some other rivals like Georgia Southwestern State out of Americus, which is not too far away. But these rivalry games, to getting up for these, what does it mean to end up beating your rival?
Yeah, you have to have a different mindset because we tell our guys no matter what Clayton State record was at the time, we had to find a way to win that game. You can't get too hyped up about the crowd. I think we had a pep rally before the game. Everybody had a white T-shirt on for whiteout. So it was just so much going on. But for those 40 minutes when the game started, we got to go by our game plan, our scout. We got to do everything that we've been asked to do. And I think my guys are really handling that. And I talked to y'all last year. I just thought we had some bad turnovers, bad plays late in games last year that cost us a lot of games. And these guys have really matured into one of their own where they don't turn it over. I think at halftime yesterday against Aiken, we had 1 turnover to their 8 turnovers. So when you see those kind of stat lines, you knowing that your bunch is growing to be that team that you knew they always could be.
And by the way, Coach, next Wednesday, the next home game on the 29th, taking on South Carolina Buford, who's 5-1 in the Peach Belt. Last year, you took them to 4 overtimes.
Right.
Yeah, so it should be a lot of fun. But we got to talk about going on the road, Coach. So what's the mindset? Because it's one thing to win at home, but then go on the road, it's always tough. Flagler's 6-2 at home and 9-6 on the season. Lander's 10-6, 6-1 at home. So both of them know how to defend home court. So what's the message to go on the road and win in the Peach Belt Conference this week? I know you got to get your guys mentally focused. It's going to be a tough turnaround to be on the road.
No, I'm glad that you said that. We tell our guys all the time on the road, you have to be a road warrior, and you got to stay locked in and focus for 40 minutes. You can't let one play early in the game cost us a game at the end of the game. So our guys been doing a good job of that, because if you can steal one on the road, it speaks volumes for what you can do in the league. And we know this is one of our toughest weeks. We had so many home games lately that has really gave us some momentum. We looking to actually carry that momentum into Flagler on Wednesday night and find a way to win that game.
Coach, we know that the ultimate goal is to host the Peach Belt Conference tournament. We know that the number 1 seed is going to have to host all the teams in the Peach Belt Conference. But I see the Peach Belt standings right now. You're in a 3-way tie with South Carolina, Buford, and Augusta University. I know that these games are going to be crucial, especially since your next 2 home games are going to be against USC, Buford, and Augusta. Is that, the ultimate goal is to host the Peach Belt, to win the Peach Belt tournament and get in a favorable bracket in the Southeast Regional for the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, when I had you all out for our benefit golf tournament, our goals never change. We want to win the Peach Belt regular season. We want to win the Peach Belt tournament, and we want to get to the Elite 8 and see what happens when it comes to the NCAA tournament. And we know that every game counts. And that's one of the things we talked about at halftime when we was down really big against Francis Marion. They might not be in the Peach Belt Conference, but that is a game that's very valuable into your standings and your resume to making it to the NCAA tournament. So our guys know how important it is. Here on out, we're 14-2. We got so many games left, and we can't have no type of slippage, and everybody got to be ready, focused, and ready to go.
Coach, thank you again for making some time for us tonight. You know how much we love you and appreciate your program, and looking forward to talking to you here in the next couple of weeks as you lead into hopefully hosting the Peach Belt Conference tournament. Thank you so much for joining us, Coach. Good luck the rest of the season.
Hey, man, thank y'all, man. Y'all do
Good
a
luck,
great
Coach.
job. Look forward to seeing y'all.
Thank you. That is Coach Robert Moore of the Columbus State men's program. We're going to take a break. We'll come right back after this on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. You're watching right now the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this.
Hi, my name is Griff Gordy, and here at Gordy Eye Care, we have been serving the Bi-City community for 17 years. As a former state championship quarterback, I love the fact that I can watch local high school athletics from the comfort of my own home. So it was a no-brainer to support Georgia Alabama Sports Live and what they do for young athletes in our area.
And without business like yourself, Gordy Eye Care, none of our coverage would be possible to be able to cover the 16 different high schools, the local colleges, and professional teams. So we'd like to say thank you to you, Dr. Griff Gordy and Gordy Eye Care, for your support of Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And then you can make an appointment today at Gordy Eye Care with the number 334-291-5125. Keep supporting Gordy Eye Care and keep watching Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Back to the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Thrift, Barringer, Richard Holdridge. Great segment there with Coach Robert Moore. His Columbus State Cougars 14-2 right now, and looking like a team that maybe could make a run, not only in the Peach Belt Conference tournament and win that, but also maybe in the NCAA tournament and maybe even make a Final Four appearance, the first one since the legendary Herbert Green was there. All right, so now we're going to go into Riverdragons talk, and then we'll have our rankings. And then we'll end the show with what's happening this week on the schedule and what we're doing next Sunday. But let's go ahead and do it. Throw up the graphic. It's Riverdragons Report here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And I will make mention for those that are watching right now, I am a casual fan that does not keep up with it religiously. I am a member of the fan group. I see all the posts. I do like going to games. I do like keeping up with them as much as I can. But I am not going to sit here and say I am an expert in all things River Dragons. That is why I'm going to have guys like Dana Barker on, or maybe sometimes Brandon Schwobel on, or Jerome Boom Boom Bouchard, or Tom Callahan. All these guys we're going to make members and part of our show. And then you're the River Dragons guy, Richard. So I'm just going to let you take over. I'll throw in some questions. All I know is that last year, his historic regular season, you're having a team right now that is battling for second and third place. But I don't think that is a bad thing, Richard.
No,
give me your
not at all.
thought and go ahead and give a summary, because we have not talked River Dragons here in the last couple of weeks, and they had this weekend also. It's a perfect time to get an update.
Well, first of all, Thrift, I'm flattered that you think I'm a River Dragons expert. I try. I'm a fan just like you, a casual fan. I've lived in Columbus for 10 years. I went to see the Cottonmouths back when I first moved here, and I know that we were hungry for hockey with that 2-year break. The River Dragons came into existence in 2019. I went to a game. I took my kid, and it was a great experience. Then COVID hit, and then the season got canceled. The River Dragons did win the Ignite Cup in 2021, but it just didn't have the same feel to it. It was a year after COVID. There was only 4 teams in it, but that was a championship. 2022, they take Watertown to the brink in the Commissioner's Cup final, but they lose in heartbreak fashion in double overtime. They played the Carolina Thunderbirds the last 2 seasons. They win game 1. They lose games 2 and 3. Last year, they had home ice. They beat Carolina up in Carolina in game 1. They come back to the Civic Center, and they lose game 2 and game 3 in heartbreaking fashion. And really, it was because of Carolina's goalkeeper was standing on his head. Anytime you have a hot goalkeeper, you can go pretty far and win a championship. But Carolina actually did not win the championship. It was the Danbury hat tricks. Right now, Columbus stands with 51 points. They are in 3rd place in the Continental Division. The team that's in 1st place is the Carolina Thunderbirds, followed by the Baton Rouge Zydeco. They have 54 points. So Carolina's got 55, Baton Rouge with 54, Columbus with 51. So they had a week off. They were supposed to play the Vipers, but that got postponed because of the inclement weather. The teams up in the north are dealing with the snowstorm and everything. But their last 2 games were at the Civic Center 2 weeks ago, where they split against Carolina. They won the Friday night game 5-2 against Carolina, and they lost on Saturday 5-3. Now they will host in-state rival the Athens Rock Lobsters, which is, by the way, is right below Columbus with 48 points. So this is a huge region contest between the Athens Rock Lobsters. It's going to be Friday and Saturday at the Columbus Civic Center. And just some tidbits, some notes that I want to drop. You got Ryan Hunter, leading goal scorer, the rookie, with 10 goals. Kyle Moore leads the team with 21 assists. He's leading with 25 points. And they just added a player from Watertown, Che Wheaton Blacksmith, who he has 11 goals, but he scored 9 of them with Watertown. So he's got 2 goals on the season for Columbus. But yeah, that matchup against Athens, I know River Dragons fans made the trip to Atkins Ford Arena up in Athens. Now Athens comes down here. I'm telling you, it's starting to get real, because now that we have an in-state rival, Athens is building a fan group. They love hockey in there. It's not just a town that supports the University of Georgia. They got a professional team, and it's the Athens Rock Lobsters, and it's going to be fun this weekend.
I will ask Richard, who's the team that they should be most worried about? Obviously, leading this in points is Binghamton in the Empire Division, but the Carolina Thunderbirds are the top in their division by 4 points. I don't think they're really worried about their division, but as a whole, as a team that could win a championship, do you think if they can get out of this region, they have what it takes to take down a team that's been fairly dominant and more dominant, really dominant, the most dominant team in the FPHL this year in Binghamton?
Well, there's no question it's Carolina. I'm actually going to piggyback what Tom Callahan said when he came on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show last year, that the Continental Division is stacked. It's really Carolina, Columbus. I know we had Motor City, on the other side of the bracket. But last year it was the Danbury Hat Tricks. This year is the Beaverton Black Bears over in the Empire Division. But I think if you can get past Baton Rouge and get past Carolina, I think that's a favorable matchup once you get to the Commissioner's Cup. But remember, they changed the format to best of 5 in the Commissioner's Cup. They've done that the last 2 years. It's a best of 3, and I'm a huge critic of the playoff format. I do not like the playoff format in the FPHL. I do not like the 1-2 format where you're on the road, your first game is at home, and then you got to play the next 2 games on the road if you are the higher seed. Columbus had the home ice last year. Game 1 was on the road. Yeah, they took care of business, and they got game 1, and then they played the next 2 games at home. But I'm not a fan of it. Let's just try to get some more points, maybe catch Carolina, try to get home ice again. But yeah, I do think that Carolina is going to be the Achilles heels for the Riverdragons, as they have been the last 2 seasons.
All right. Well, they got games this weekend. Go out, support Civic Center, 7:35. You can get tickets on rdragons.com. That is rdragons.com. Get tickets as they take on the Athens Rock Lobsters, and that is the River Dragons report. Let's take one more quick break, come back, and it's time to drop the rankings for high school basketball, boys and girls. Don't go anywhere here on the Georgia-Alabama Sports Live Show. You're watching right now the Georgia-Alabama Sports Live Show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome to the Campus Academy Private School, where every student is celebrated for their individuality. With personalized curriculum, students unlock their potential, growing into confident learners. At the Campus Academy, we give teachers the freedom to create dynamic classrooms where every student's voice is heard. Discover the difference. Enroll your child today and watch them thrive.
We're back, and it's time now, to drop the rankings that everybody's been looking forward to. It's high school basketball season, and we got to drop our rankings already. I think these are rankings number 6 or 7 that we've done
I believe so
far, because we've done bi-weekly, unlike in football. But let's throw them up there. We're going to start with the girls. All right, not much of a shakeup at the top, but down at the bottom we did. How about hopping into the top 10? Coach LaShonda Adams and her Lady Blue Devils, 8-10, Richard. And every bit looking as a team, if they can finish out strong, they can make the playoffs this year. She has improved in wins every single season. Okay, yes. And she has eclipsed that mark already. And I think this Columbus Blue Devils team is going to get maybe close to 15 wins. And what a season for her. Number 9, we got Ty. We got Smith Station Lady Panthers at 11-6, and the Spencer Lady Green Waves, who come in as the 4th seed in their region, 9-9. They're both tied for 9th. And then number 8, the Northside Lady Patriots got off to a hot start. They are now 4-6 since starting 6-0 or 6-1. Richard, they're now 10-6, 2-4 in the region. And the Lady Patriots, if they can maybe upset Harris County at home on Tuesday, they still could be making for the playoffs, but they also play an extremely tough region. But how about the 8, 9, and 10 teams in the girls' rankings?
Yeah, I mean, Northside is at number 8 because of their hot start. This is still a good team. They're just in a tough region with Stars Mill and Griffin and, of course, Harris County. And you can't forget about Central and Carrollton. They got some really talented teams. I agree with them. I like how Spencer and Smith Station are tied at 9. We know that Smith Station is in a very tough area with Auburn, Central, Opelika. But Spencer, Coach Tench is got them right now. If the season ended, they're 4-3 in the region. They'll end up making the playoffs. And they had a tough one against Sumter County. And Sumter County is just playing on another level. But they played a close game against Carver. They have beaten Columbus. They've beaten Shaw. And I think that Spencer is right where they need to be. And as for Columbus is on the outskirts of the playoffs like they were last year. Now, Coach Adams doesn't have a healthy roster. Got a lot of players that are banged up. but I'm looking forward to that game on February 1st against Shaw. I think that this could be just a determination to see how Columbus could get. And I do think that this team is just going to continue to improve, and they're going to increase their win total from last year. Remember, they won 5 2 years ago. They won 9 last year. I think they'll get to 10 and 11 wins. I think that there are some games on the schedule where they can win, but they just got to get healthy. I just think with Alana Gilbert, Harmony Franklin, you have Christina Kristoff, Jayla Lockhart. You've got some talented players on this team, and I know that Coach Adams is a good coach for building up talent and developing talent. And they'll have a good season, and they'll finish out strong, and hopefully maybe even sneak into the playoffs.
Number 7 is Russell County. The Lady Warriors are 10-9, and they have been fantastic. I've been impressed from what I've seen from Russell County. I almost switched them, and I probably should have, looking back on it. And if they have another great week this upcoming week, I'm going to have to move Glenwood in the top 5. And I honestly probably should have already done it. But I think Carver still has enough talent, and they played a tough schedule. But Glenwood's 15-6, undefeated in the region. They're going to move up in the Alabama Sports Writers rankings. They were number 9 coming in the week. The Lady Gators are doing this without their star point guard, Haley Palmore. Mimi Johnson's been incredible. Bobby Taylor Brazil. They had to replace a lot of offense in TK Davis and Anna Grace Griggs, and they've done it by going 15-6 in their first year in the public school. That is a credit to the coaching job by Dusty Perdue, the Chattahoochee Valley Sports Hall of Famer. Number 5, Carver, 5-8, but 3rd in the region. And I think Carver, it will finish above 500. They'll be fine. Don't focus on the record right now, but I think I would move Carver at 6, Glenwood at 5 if I did it over again. Number 4 is Harris County. They're 12-5. They look like a team that's going to be at least 2nd or 3rd in the region. I don't know if they'll win it, but Coach Ramsey Dunn's team with Janai Broom, who got her 1,000th point, and the Lady Tigers, I think they're going to be all right, Richard. I'm not really worried about them as a program right now. And, Coach Ramsey Dunn has made Final Fours, the quarterfinals last year. She's done an excellent job with that program. The winningest coach, I think, in Tiger basketball history. And if she's not, she'll eventually get there. And she's my favorite as one of the best, especially with the success that she has had. I'm looking at the standings right now. They are in first place, tied with Griffin, who's 5-1.
Yeah.
They did lose to Stars Mill. So their only loss is to Stars Mill, who's 4-1. So if Stars Mill had won, they would both Stars Mill would be in first place, but they smoked Griffin, that was Griffin's only loss, and Harris County won by 35. So that upset by Stars Mill, that was an upset. But since then, 5 straight wins. Central Talbot, Jonesboro, Manchester twice, and Mundy's Mill. They take care of business against Northside. They look like they could be winning the region again. So I throw out everything I said because I thought they were in second place because they lost Stars Mill. Stars Mill has not played as many games. So right now they are in first. If Stars Mill had just as many wins, the tiebreaker would go to Stars Mill. But Harris County Lady Tigers look like every bit the team that could win the region. They come in at number 4, Rich.
Yeah, remember that game against Stars Mill was close. They could actually go up to Fayetteville and beat them on their home floor. I like where Harris County is at because I think they're going to win the region and host a couple of home playoff games. Right below them, Carver, it's early, but if you look at their schedule, they play Shaw tomorrow. They'll play Columbus, Kendrick. You got some wins there. They'll have the rematch against Spencer on the 31st. They'll play Hardaway again. I think that Carver gets into the playoffs. I don't think people should focus on their record because it's the region record. Because right now they are in 3rd place. I think Carver gets into the playoffs. And I like where Glenwood's at. Glenwood's got everything in front of them. Right now they're in first place in the area. They play Lee Scott up in Lee Scott on the 27th. They have dominated Lee Scott the last couple of years. Beat them 5 times last year. I know it's going to be a hostile environment up in Auburn. Lee Scott Clark Yvott has just been lights out for Lee Scott and Coach Harrison. She is a fantastic player, but you're going to have Kesey's going to have to step up on defense. Riley Fields is going to have to be that post player that Bobby Taylor Brazil is. I think this Lee Scott Academy team has got to find the offense from somebody else other than Yvott.
And I can't wait for that game coming up, the 27th on that, Richard. But I
can't wait.
We didn't talk about Russell County, Mackenzie Word, who leads the team in scoring. Coach Ricky Jones and team, they're not in first place right now in their region, but they look like a team that could maybe make a playoff run, Richard. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
absolutely.
We'll see how Coach Ricky Jones' team's going to play out. They're 2-2 in the region, but I still think they got a team that's talented enough to be able to make a deep run. Number 3 is the Hardaway Lady Hawks, 10-6. They lost to Hoover, but they are first place in the region. They kind of smoked Sumter last Tuesday at Sumter in a battle for first place. So I like this Hardaway team a lot. Pacelli, 11-2. They're not the number 1 team in the GIAA. That is Athens Christian, but they are still an excellent team. Bryant Thomas got a big game tomorrow against Taylor County, who comes in undefeated, ranked number 1 in 1A in the GHSA. So that's a big one. And we're going to get that at the CB Hoops MLK Showcase. We'll talk about that later. And then number 1, Central. I know they lost to Auburn, but they beat Pacelli. Pacelli beat Hardaway.
Right.
And Central, I still think, can make it to a Final Four. I think the Auburn girls are just that good. Coach Rogetta Williams got an excellent team led by Jabria Lindsay. So I got them still at number 1. So talk about the top 3, Hardaway, Pacelli, and Central, Rich.
Well, Central's in a tough region, having to face Auburn, which, Central's got Jabria Lindsay. Auburn's got Brooke Holloman. I mean, Auburn, I know that they're not the 16 teams that we cover, but I think Auburn is the favorite to win that region. But Central is right there with them, and I think that they'll go make a deep run in the playoffs. Pacelli's got a big one tomorrow at Pacelli in the CB Hoops MLK Classic against Taylor County, which, by the way, they are ranked number 1 in some polls, but they are actually ranked number 2 according to Kyle Sandy in the Sandy Spell poll. But Taylor County, who's gone to 2 consecutive Final Fours, this is a team on the outskirts of our coverage. They are in Butler. I know that I've expressed interest in maybe live streaming a Taylor County game when they play Central Talbotton, because I just want to try to give them some love. But they're in that same region with Marion County, Chatco, Central Talbotton. So Taylor County, they're looking fantastic. I can't wait for that game. And as for Hardaway, I think they go undefeated in the region, and they host the region tournament, and they get a pretty good seeding in the number 2 in 2A. Hardaway is not ranked as high according to Kyle Sandy because of their record, but they've played a lot of teams that are higher classifications, like a Carrollton, like a Hoover.
Yeah, and I'm not worried about them. They're going to – I still think Coach Kelly Ellison's team will win a championship. We're going to get them this week against Spencer. We got Rihanna Boynton, who has been their leading scorer. Then you got always the seniors in Burrell, Shelton, and Michaela Johnson. Plus you got Jayla Todd off the bench. They're fine. They've played a tough schedule. They will be in the Final Four in the championship, I promise you, when you look up at the end of the year. All right, let's go to the boys now. And the boys' rankings. And we got number 10, the Columbus Blue Devils. This was between them and Shaw. Shaw's been playing pretty good as of recently, but we put Columbus. Coach Terrence Hill's team is coming in 8-10 on the season, and has done an excellent job. And I've been really impressed with them, Richard, in seeing how they've built a great Coach Hill's doing a great job in his first season. They actually play Shaw coming up in a week or so. That could be for a playoff spot. But J.J. Johnson, he's been great, man. I thoroughly enjoyed watching him. That guy is a star. He is only a sophomore, but they come in 8-10. They beat Kendrick not once but twice. They've also beat Brookzone and Calvary. They did lose to Spencer by 14, and they lost to Shaw at Shaw. But they got 8 wins right now, so that is why we have them over them. I can hear your discussion if you had Shaw in it, and I promise you, if Shaw keeps playing the way they are, they got to win over Russell County. Shaw can finish out the season strong. They can make a playoff run. They take on. Actually, I'm looking at the girls right now.
They play Carver tomorrow.
Yeah, play Carver tomorrow. So I'm looking at the wrong teams right now. But Columbus still a really good team. And we'll see how Shaw's going to play out. They got Carver tomorrow. That's going to be tough at Carver. That's Shaw. And then they got Jordan, and then at Sumter County. Columbus is 8-11, 4-3 in the region. They got a winning record in the region. They got coming up, Richard. They beat Kendrick, Jordan, did lose to Shaw by 28. But they got Sumter County and Carver. So we'll see. They beat Kendrick twice, and Columbus comes in at number 10. Number 9 is Smith Station. And they come in 10-11. Richard, on the season. So Smith Station, we're going to get them for the first time this weekend as they take on Central and host
Here we
Central.
go.
And then number 8, Brookstone had a tough week. They were up in our rankings, number 5. They have actually dropped because they lost at Calvary and at Pacelli. Tough week for Coach Carl Ivey's team, but he gets both those teams at home at the end of the year. And one of them they play this Friday, which you're going to be at, Richard.
Yes.
Brookstone comes in at number 8. Go ahead.
Yeah, Brookstone is still fantastic. Chapman Dykes shoots the lights out. Savon Kelly, just a great player. You have a Brookstone team that just has a little adversity this week during rivalry week, losing to Calvary and Pacelli. Both games were on the road. As far as Smith Station, they're in a very tough area. Opelika all of a sudden is great. Auburn took Central down to the wire. Central is the team to beat in that area, but I think that we keep Smith Station in these rankings because they're still fantastic. They're just in a tough area, and we'll see them play, I guess, the Backyard Brawl basketball edition this Friday night. You'll be on the call on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
Yep.
And what can you say about Columbus? Tuesday, they'll be tested. They're going to take on Sumter County. But seeing this Columbus team in action, got to call that game against Kendrick. J.J. Johnson's a fantastic player that took over that game. They've got a 3-headed monster in that backcourt with Marcus, Fuqua, and Lee. And that is just very talented backcourt. Smith Carver coming off the bench, averaging 14 points a game. Coach Terrence Hill in his first year has done a pretty good job. He had to replace a lot of players that left, like Oakley Cons, and you had to replace Dre Wooten, Savon Kelly. That was a team that made the playoffs for the first time in 25 years. And now
Robert Alford. And now look
at Robert Alford. Man, I keep forgetting Robert. He's the quarterback at Columbus, but he was also a great shooter for Columbus as well.
He was their leading scorer. Number 7, the Calvary Christian Knights. What a week they had, and Coach Jonathan Gordon's team goes to 10-9. They beat Brookstone. They beat Chambers. They're on a winning streak. They've won 8 of their last 9, and this team looks like a team, 7 of their last 9, and they look like a team that could make a run in the playoffs. They are second in the region. First place is Pacelli. Second place is Calvary. Calvary's only got 1 region loss. Now, I said they had a great week last week. Well, here's the thing. This week, they got Ware County, a top team in the GHSA at the MLK Showcase tomorrow. Then they got to go on the road to Brookstone on Friday, on the road to Glenwood on Saturday, and then next Tuesday, they welcome Pacelli home. So their next 4 games are crucial. They go 500 or 3-1 during that stretch, Rich. Calvary will be moving up significantly in our rankings. And when healthy, this team is like 8-1 or something like that. I know you have the record, Richard, but number 6, a team that I still feel like we're underrating them. They probably should be higher. Russell County, 18-4, undefeated in the region. How about Coach Battle? Year after year, keeps winning. He has turned this into a premier program, well-coached team. He is one of the best coaches we have in our area, and he's got a great job, a great program that I think this year, Richard, they could make it, maybe win a few games in the playoffs, not just lose in the second round. They come in at number 6. And number 5, Spencer, going on the road and beating Sumter County. They are now second place in the region, so that Carver game could be – well, no, if Carver could already solidify it because Spencer does have 2 losses. Carver would have to lose 1 more. So they would need Sumter to beat Carver for Spencer to get first place. But right now they are in second place, and I can't wait for that game coming up January the 31st. So Calvary 7, Russ County 6, Spencer 5, and the Glenwood Gators last week undefeated, beat Beulah, beat Dadeville, and beat Lee Scott. They are 17-5, number 1 team in their region, going to be ranked in the Alabama Sports Writers poll. How about Coach Purdue's team led by an 8th grader, Braylon Alexander? They got Swag and Jadarian Holloway. You got size in the middle with Tyler Sykes and Mason McCrane. Levi Pender can shoot. They got a decent bench. They had an incredible week last week. And this program in his first season, again, Dusty Purdue showing why he's a Chattahoochee Valley Sports Hall of Famer and has 7 state championships. They come in at number 4.
Well, let's start with Glenwood. What an incredible statement win against Lee Scott Academy, which, by the way, was ranked 3rd according to the Alabama Sports Writers Association. Glenwood got several votes. I expect Glenwood to be in this week's poll. Glenwood is going to get to play Lee Scott again. I mean, that was a huge win because they went 0-3 against Lee Scott last year. Right. And I know the critics are saying, well, Lee Scott's the defending AISA champions. Hayden Harper is fantastic. Chapman Harris is great shooter as well. Lee Scott is a fundamentally sound team, but that was a team effort to have Mason McCrane and Tyler Sykes crash the boards, Braylon Alexander stepping up as an 8th grader, Swag doing his thing. I mean, he had a great first half. Levi Pender making big shots. I like what Coach Purdue did. He left majority of his starters in that game. He rotated River Baker out every now and then. You saw Trey Clarity come in every day.
Can I say something, though?
Yes.
I want to add something, too, that you're missing out on, Richard. He put an 8th grader on the best player in his region and one of the top players in the state. He has put 30 on everyone. He had 30 heading in, or 28 heading into that final play. And Coach Purdue said, I'm not putting Swag. I'm not putting one of my seniors. I'm putting an 8th grader on him. And the 8th grader ripped him clean. It's one of the best coaching moves, and that's why he is the big dog, and that's why he's a Hall of Famer, and that's why he's got state championships. To put an 8th grader and have the kahunas and the guts to say, you got to go out and stop one of the best offensive players in our state. And he did it. And Hayden Harper, what an impressive job. What a play by him and a great call by you, but a good coaching job by them. And then how about Spencer upsetting Sumter, Rich?
Yeah, incredible upset for the Spencer Green Wave, led by Kerry Griffin, Joshua Selden, DeMarcus Horn. That's really Coach Allen's been relying on these three just to get the job done offensively. I don't think that blowout loss by Carver reflects how good this Spencer team is, because they were able to beat Shaw, able to beat Columbus. They're able to beat Kendrick, and then getting a huge road victory over Sumter County. I think that they're going to end up being second in this region, which means they would host a playoff game come time when it comes time for the playoffs. But Russell County, what can you say about a balanced scoring from Joshua Battle, the coach's son, Tamaje Mackey, Kingston Henry? And they lost Timothy Littleton from last year's team that went to the second round, by the way, lost to a very good Carver Montgomery team. I think this Russell County team is just as good as that team that made the playoffs last year. Undefeated in the region, which means if they win the area, rather, because Alabama does the area, which means right now they got a 2-game lead over Pike Road. So they are 5-0. Pike Road is 2-2. Park Crossing is 2-3. Rehoboth is 0-4. They win the area, they're going to host 2 home playoff games. How big would that be for the Russell County community to have 2 home playoff games in basketball? And
unbelievable.
When you think of Russell County, you think of a baseball school, a football school. Basketball's been on the up and coming for the last 3 years, and Coach Ronnie Battle has really built something special there.
Unbelievable. And we are presented by Buffalo Rock Pepsi. Thank you to Michael Bensko and Buffalo Rock and Pepsi for being a supporter of ours, Richard. And I'm literally drinking a Pepsi right now on this broadcast. And we
got the shirts too.
They got Gatorade. I mean, come on. Gatorade, Mountain Dew, do the dew. Thank you to Buffalo Rock, and thank you to Pepsi. Also, thank you to Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC coming up January 29th. We'll be doing a live show there Wednesday night. We'll also be doing an Inside the GIAA virtual show, Richard. So that's going to be a virtual week for that Inside the GIAA show that we got coming up again on the GIAA Facebook page, GIAA.tv, and, of course, the GIAA YouTube channel. All right, final 3 rankings. Number 2, undefeated Pacelli, 27-0. They take on Grovetown, 27-game winning streak, 15-0. They take on Grovetown. Should be a great one tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Number 2 team, Carver, takes care of business against Sumter County, and they go to 13-2. They're number 1 in Sandy Spiel. They're number 1 in pretty much every poll, and they're number 2 in ours. Yeah. And they did a great job without Tony Montgomery. Woodson was good. Player of the game was Jacoby Castlin. The bigs inside, they did everything they needed to beat a feisty, competitive Sumter County team. And I think this team, when they get everyone back fully healthy and over this sickness, Coach Benbrook's team's going to win a state championship. Pacelli got a big weekend. They got Strom Rock at home. So they're going to try to look to stay undefeated. Grovetown is one of the tougher games left on their schedule here in the regular season. And then number 1, 25-4, Richard. Number 2 in 7A behind Hoover. I think they have the team to upset and finally take down their rival Hoover. How about Coach Burkett? He's the coach of the year right now, man. The schedule they've gone through and the national teams they've beaten, they are showing why they're ranked nationally. They're an incredible team, full of talent. Jacoby Hill, Bryce Dawson, Jonah Jones, Jaden Ford. They're deep. They're loaded. They got well coached, and I've been thoroughly impressed with the Red Devils. They're going to stay number one. They're going to finish the region undefeated, and we finally get them. So we got them the first basketball broadcast we did this year with Central and Shaw. And now we're going to get Central again this weekend at Smith Station. You talk about hostile. That's going to be a hostile environment, and we can't be there for the Backyard Brawl basketball edition. Pacelli, Carver, and Central. Quickly, Richard, wrap those up before we get at take one more break and come back and talk about where we're going to be this week.
Oh, Central's deep. They're a lot deeper than last year's team, especially with the addition of Jaden Ford and Andrew Alford. And they got the same players coming back that lost to Hoover in the Final Four. I think that Carver can win a championship in 2A. They are deep as well. That Pacelli game, Grovetown's going to be a tough game tomorrow, but just keep an eye on that Pacelli game against Calvary Christian on the 28th. That's going to be at Calvary, and that's going to be a hostile environment. That's going to be a must-watch. You're going to want to watch that game because I do think if Calvary is fully healthy, they can make it a game with Pacelli. They know
at Calvary too.
Yeah, and it's at Calvary. Pacelli's got a big target on their back with 27-game win streak.
And if they are able to go, you're right. If they beat Ware, Brookstone, and Glenwood, let's say they go undefeated, Calvary does. They'll be on a long winning streak. They'll be 13-9. They'll beat the three best teams they played all year in a row, and they go host Pacelli at home. Yeah, they're going to be playing with a lot of confidence. So here's our rankings. When we do our rankings based off strength of schedule in your league, chance to win a state in your league, your roster compared to everyone else in your league, and then we throw in head-to-head. That's our criteria. Here's our rankings. We hope it ruffles some feathers. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to throw up the schedule for this week, where we're going to be, kind of preview a little bit of those games, and then we're going to get out of here and try to catch the end of this ultimate Ravens-Bills game that we're missing because we're on the Georgia-Alabama Sports Live Show. You're watching right now the Georgia-Alabama Sports Live Show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this. Georgia-Alabama Sports Live wants to say thank you to one of our presenting sponsors, Buffalo Rock, and their partnership with everything that we do. And without business like Buffalo Rock, we wouldn't be able to go cover softball, volleyball games, every type of high school sport you can think of, local college games, and professional. So thank you to those businesses that support us, and specifically Buffalo Rock. And next time you're watching a Georgia-Alabama Sports Live broadcast after a nice long day, why not enjoy it with a nice, refreshing Sorry? The best lemon lime soda around. Thank you to Sorry and Buffalo Rock for our partnership on Georgia-Alabama Sports Live. Welcome back, everyone, to the Georgia-Alabama Sports Live Show. Let's keep rocking. Let's keep rolling. And let's throw up the schedule where we're going to be this week, Rich. All right, so we got tomorrow, Coastal Alabama and CVCC, the men's and women. The men's came off a big win against Belleville State. They needed that to stay in the top four of the conference. They take on Coastal Alabama, who's ranked are number 2 or 3 in the standings. CVCC girls are number 1 in the conference, and they need to beat Coastal to stay ahead of it. We got Queen of the County Wrestling, Rick Beach, and Kazoo Sports will be there for that. We got the CB Hoops MLK Showcase happening. Richard, can't wait for that one. Should be a lot of fun. And we are excited about that coming up tomorrow, starting at 12 p.m. And then we got the Calvary Coach Show tomorrow night. Looking forward to doing that as well at 7 p.m.
Yeah, that Monday is jam-packed. MLK Day. The kids will be out of school as we get ready, and it's starting at 12 with that Pacelli girls and Taylor County girls. That's going to be just a clash of 2 top teams in our area. Calvary Christian takes on Ware County, and then Pacelli takes on Grovetown. And then also we've got Emmanuel Preparatory, Coach Corey Black's team, taking on Porter Sports. And then how about this middle school matchup? The Calvary Middle School and Aaron Cone Middle School. That I know we wanted to see that matchup in football, but we're going to get it in basketball.
Yeah, I'm excited about that as well, Richard. And then Tuesday, if the weather permits, we got CVCC Coach Show at 5:30. That will happen. But then we got Hardaway at Spencer, Harris County at Northside. Huge region games for the boys and girls. We got first team versus fourth team in the girls. Boys, you got number 3 and number 2 taking on, I think, number 5 Hardaway. And then Harris County, Northside, you always know that's a great rivalry. So if we have games Tuesday, we'll be doing that. Then Wednesday, we got the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. We got Pacelli Coaches Show. We got the Glenwood Coach Show. And we got Muskogee County Office Hour. So no games, chock full of shows. And then we're also doing the GIAA show at 8 p.m. A lot of talking, Richard, on Wednesday for sure.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of good coaches shows on Wednesday. And then we get the rare day off on Thursday. And then we'll be back at it for some big-time games as still part of rivalry week, going on 3 weeks. So you got to include Calvary Brookstone in there and then Central Smith Station. So, yeah, we can still call this rivalry week.
Yep. And then moving on, we got Thursday, Calvary at Brookstone. That's a big one. Strong Rock at Pacelli and Central Smith Station. Saturday, we got Central Tech and CVCC girls and the Calvary Glenwood basketball game. So it is chock full of stuff, man. Just enjoy it. We got a wrestling, we got a bunch of basketball coaches shows, and then on Wednesday's show we got Dana Barker, the PA announcer and Riverdragons extraordinaire, coming on to talk Riverdragons. It's going to be a fantastic show. We're going to have unsolicited hot take where we'll talk about rehash the everything happened in the NFL, talk some NBA, talk some college basketball, and of course talk about that national championship game that's tomorrow night at 7:30. We're going to give a pick here at the end of this one. And then on Sunday, next Sunday, Richard, you can throw that up. Georgia Alabama Sports Live Media Day 2024, January 26th at 1:30 p.m. We are going to be starting. We're going to have 15 of the local high school baseball teams, CVCC softball and CSU baseball, starting at 1:30, getting to talk to coaches and players ahead of the season. This is kind of our kickoff. We started last year. It's kind of Richard Holdridge's brainchild, and we're doing it again this year at CVCC. Looking forward to doing this again. It was a fantastic event last year, Richard. And now we've done almost every media day, from flag football media day to football media day from Muskogee County, Brookstone, Calvary, Glenwood. Then we did basketball media day. Now we got baseball media day, and we're going to have a spring sports media day for tennis, soccer, golf, and track and field coming up in March at the Beck Center. So, wow, enjoyed being able to host these at kickoff seasons. But Baseball Media Day was an excellent event last year. Should be a good one here in the second one.
Yeah, it was a huge success last year. We covered all the 16 schools that we covered. Now we're adding CVCC, baseball and softball, and Columbus State. And I tell you what was great about last year is that, these baseball players got to be in the spotlight and, got to showcase just their new uniforms. I mean, it was great. And, it kicks off the baseball season, because baseball season will be here before you know it. And we'll be live streaming those first couple of games. That's actually probably a month away. And so this Baseball Media Day, it was a huge success last year, and I'm looking forward to Sunday.
And Richard, finally, throw up right now Sports Vision's 92.1 if you have it. If you have that graphic real quick, you can throw that Sports Vision's 92.1 whenever you do find it. As what an inaugural week on the Sports Vision's morning show from 6 to 9 a.m. Richard, you were there in studio all day long on Thursday. You're going to be in studio this week. Man, we had so many callers, so much support. And looking forward to doing that with DJ every Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. on the brand new Sports Vision 92.1 FM. You got us from 6 to 9, Dan Patrick 9 to 12, Coward 12 to 3, and then Ball Feinbaum 3 to 7. What a lineup. And tomorrow will be a best of. We're going to rehash all the interviews. It's going to be a great show, so you can still listen on the radio. But then we'll be back in action live on the cold Tuesday morning from the PMB studios. And Sports Visions will be live with me and DJ. Should be great, Richard. We'll rehash everything that's been going on. So make sure to follow Sports Visions on Facebook. You can download the Sports Vision radio app, and you also can listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just put in Sports Vision's morning show. Richard, what a great job, and looking forward to next week.
Yeah, those first 3 episodes, you debuted the show on Wednesday, had great guests, great callers, great content. I'm just happy, just as a local sports fan who really got into listening to local sports talk radio 5 days a week in Columbus. I was introduced to. I actually didn't listen to the press box of Bobby Z and Friends because I didn't really know about it, even though I've been in Columbus for 10 years. My first show that I listened to was the Sports Zone with Stephen Williams. But now you got 2 of the best, 5 days a week, and it's a morning show. And local sports talk radio 5 days a week is back after a 5-year break. I couldn't be happier. And I know that the sports fans in this community are excited that you and DJ are doing a local morning show from 6 to 9. And I'm glad that I'm a part of it. I had fun in the studio. I tell you, the 3 hours goes by fast.
Yeah, it does. And looking forward to it and excited about the future. And we are glad that we were able to make something special happen here on the Sports Edges Morning Show. All right. Thank y'all so much for watching. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you next time. Got a busy week, and we'll drop these rankings for everyone to share. If you're looking for a sponsorship, come on. Jump on board. Let us know that you're supporting us. And if you want to be a sponsor, you just got a DM or you can give me a call anytime. And I got packages for you to be able to be a sponsor for Georgia, Alabama Sports Live. So we thank everyone that's a part of this and keep supporting. And we'll see you next time on the Georgia, Alabama Sports Live show. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Oh, whoa. Thank you for watching the Georgia. We come back real quick.
Yes, we did.
Ohio State's beating Notre Dame by 2 touchdowns. Get quickly pick before we get out of here.
I got Ohio State winning. By the way, I got the Bills-Ravens game on pause. So I know we'll get to talk about the conference championships on the show on Wednesday. Looking forward to it.
All right. We'll see you next time. Good night,
All
everyone.
right. Night, everybody.
Thank you for watching the Georgia, Alabama Sports Live show presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. You're ready to smile.